Okay, my dear Greg Saunders.
Gregory.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
And we're rolling, Gregory.
Greg Saunders.
Wow. Hey, great.
Show us the skills that have made you a media darling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, 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 welcome to the Saturday Morning Stateline Show. I'm saying, Tom, that given as much as we like to snack late at night, it's completely unacceptable. Most microwaves do not have a mute switch. Come on. I'm Greg. He's Tom. It's the 4th day of November. November, friends. That's with an N. November. The year 2023, the latest it has ever been.
In the history of mankind.
Congratulations.
All right, so I remember this episode. You just reminded me. A Flip Wilson episode. Do you remember Flip?
Flip Wilson, yeah. I remember Flip Wilson. Yeah.
He was a black comedian years ago, but he'd come home late one night. It was a skit on his show, and everything he did, he was trying to be quiet so he didn't wake his wife up. Everything he did, slam, took his shoes off. Everything he did. Then he went and got a piece of cake. He thought, well, this will be quiet. And as he's cutting the cake, it's like, it's funny. It just reminded me of that.
I forget the other comedian that had a joke like that too, that he was, if he came home and tried to be quiet, his wife would roll over. Why are you making so much noise? Everything. But if he came in late at night and he said, honey, I'm home. I love you. Give me a big kiss. She'd be like,
Yeah, exactly. There you go. No, that's about it.
I forget which guy that was. That wasn't Rodney Dangerfield, but it was one of those guys that was, old school dudes.
Well, if it was Rodney Dangerfield, he just said, honey, I love you. Give me a big kiss after that dude leaves the bed.
No respect. No
respect. I tell you. When told me to take out the garbage, I said, you cooked it. You take it out.
Oh, gosh. It's November already, my friend. Can you believe it?
Yeah, November. Wow.
It
feels like it. But still, I wear shorts. You can't see.
No. I'm currently in sweatpants. I'll be honest with that. But it's just because I got to run. I got stuff going on today. We do have guys we're going to bring in here in a second.
I'm going to run a 4th K.
A 4th K.
1/4 K. Run down the end of the block and back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Leslie's with the Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition. We're going to bring her on here in just a moment. But first, like we do every single week, we have this to do first. It's our big number of the week, and I think did I do the caption right? No, I didn't yet. Okay, stand by. Our current score in our current race to 10 has Tom and Joann tied at a score of 2. That's it, 2-2. Joann did win the last race to. Oh no, yes, Joann did win the last race to 10. And this week's big number of the week is a big one. It's 18 billion. 18 billion. The answer is Safari or South Florida.
Oh, wow.
Safari or South Florida. We'll give you the answer before the end of the show. And if you're playing along at home, tell us.
Your mind right now.
Put it in the comments if you've been. You're on the honor system. There's no prizes anyway, so Tom and Joann might get a free breakfast out of the deal, but yeah. Eventually, Tom, we got to have us a listener viewer appreciation breakfast event or something like that somewhere. That'd be kind of fun.
I think that would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
That would be. Maybe Dan from Tulsa will join us.
Dan would sponsor the whole thing. He just put the bill. You're like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely. He's independently wealthy.
I'll be glad to join him there.
Well, he's independently healthy anyway. I don't know.
one of those Lees. All right. Well, I do have some shout outs, but I'm going to save those for after our guest because she is already ready to go. Her name is Leslie Varisco. I probably say her last name wrong. Varisco? Is that Varisco?
That is totally correct.
Varisco. I got it right.
Nailed it on the first try.
Italian, not me, my husband.
Okay. Why was my caption thing not working here for me? There we go. Now let me switch my screens. There we go. I got a little.
I feel like Cindy Brady or Bobby Brady every week, looking up.
I got a nice banner for our guest today, who's again with the Greater Rockford
Yay.
Pantry Coalition. Which how long has that been in existence now?
Well, the pantry's for 50 years. We're going to be celebrating at the Rock River Valley Pantry our 50th anniversary.
50 years of
Years.
serving Rockford. And before we get into the details of the Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up and how'd you get involved with this organization?
Well, I could talk all day about that because I went through a hard time in my life, like many people do. And I have a good friend that actually serves on the board at the Rock River Valley Pantry. And years ago, she said, you know, it was a big situation. I had broken my foot and couldn't work. And so she said, come and volunteer. So I did. And that's where I started with Rock River Valley Pantry. And then learning about the need and just understanding why people use pantries has really opened my eyes. And I hope someday that I can open everyone's eyes as to the situation in our world today. But I'm originally from Colorado. So I moved out here after college and to get to know my sister, who's 12 years older than I am, and met my husband, and the rest is history.
Okay. So love brought you to the state line too. That's what got me here.
It kept me in the state line.
And it kept me here too.
And I love it. I love it here. 815 all the way.
815 all the way. I like that. So you grew up in Colorado. Was that in Denver, somewhere else? So small town Colorado. Where was that at?
Born and raised in Denver.
Okay.
And when I was a teenager, my parents actually bought a Texaco station after their retirement. And then we moved up to Ridgeway, Colorado, which is on the southern slope, and it's the most beautiful place in the world to me. But someday I'll get back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your parents were entrepreneurial type folks then, if they bought a gas station.
Well, they worked their whole lives, and then they retired, and that was their second career. My parents were older when I was born. So my father was an incredible mechanic. My mom managed the Sunstrand Credit Union in Westminster, Colorado. So they both retired, bought the gas station, and it was lovely.
That's cool. My grandparents were A&W root beer stand owners, and they owned some taverns in La Crosse. They were very, very entrepreneurial. That was their like career. That was what they did. And besides, my grandfather was a musician and played tenor sax with bands all over the place, all over northern.
That's where you get your talent.
That's where I get some of my musical roots, I guess, a little bit. But my dad's side of the family, same thing. My dad's still playing harmonica in a band. He's still playing too. So both sides of the family were into that sort of thing. But so you came to Rockford, you saw this need, you experienced the need yourself, and I can
many years ago. You bet.
I can relate with that too. I know there's a time in my life when being on food stamps and needing help for about a year and a half, where it was without it. I would have had to move back in with one of my folks, and that was not going to be a good thing as a single dad with 3 kids. So that was
when I experienced that, I had no idea what a food pantry was. I didn't even know they existed. So one of our goals is to let people know that there is help out there, and you know, there's so much stigma, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Well, it's the way I like to look at it is, you know, there's handouts and there's hand ups, right? Yeah. And hopefully most of our services are designed to be hand ups.
Absolutely.
And there are those in situations that either feel impossible or maybe are somewhat just really, really, really difficult to get out of. And so they kind of get stuck in the handout situation where they never see the light of day. And I feel for those folks. And sometimes that's, I guess, it's a mindset, right, that you try to work on as well. It's not just there's a lot of bunny trails we could go down here with people's needs and stuff like that.
Well, honestly, Greg, 86% of the clients that use the pantry they all work full-time jobs.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, nowadays it isn't about an issue as much as it is not making a livable wage.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, every human on the face of the earth has developed this weird habit called eating. And we have to do it 3 times a day, or, maybe twice, and you can suffice. But the fact that our bodies have to have food makes this a necessity. The fact that there's a stigma with it makes it, kind of like, oh, I don't think I want to do that. What are people going to think? It's a necessary evil. And God bless you for it. I've had experience with food pantries as well, both going to them and volunteering at one.
You.
And you're right. It's
good for you.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And the thing is, people just don't understand until
walking
they
in
hit
someone
that
else's
point.
shoes.
That's right. So I encourage everybody to dispel your notions, any notions you have about the person who needs the food. And we throw a lot of food away.
There is a lot of
waste. That
waste
in mind as well. The entire world, and just we could feed the entire world.
Yeah,
no
nobody should ever go hungry.
So the food pantry thing, it's just no. It's almost like, hey, can I borrow a pen? Nobody says, oh, you need a pen, huh? Wow,
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Right.
Well, I need food. I'm hungry. I don't have a job right now. I had whatever. And everybody's gone through it. Like you said, you had some hard times. Everybody's had hard times. Whether it's go ahead.
Food insecurity is made up of a lot of different factors. But the one thing I will stress is that children that are raised in food insecurity, you go to school and you haven't had breakfast, you're not going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to learn. And
that's right.
Food insecurity is one of the largest causes of childhood depression, every single thing you can think of as far as diseases can stem from food insecurity.
Oh my goodness, you've really hit on something, because it's the poor nutrition that leads you to weight gain. And this is why we have such a problem with obesity. That was my problem. I never had breakfast. I was kind of a latchkey kid. Mom and dad were both working. I had to get up, dress myself. I didn't make breakfast. I would eat my lunch that my mom would prepare ahead of time for, on the way to school. And then I had no lunch. Some days it was no breakfast. Some days it was no lunch, but I rarely got the 3. And then that does lead to emotional eating. I can tell you that from experience. So we need to eliminate those types of things. Emotional eaters, this is what comfort food is. I'm going to the grocery store and I'm going to buy, oh my God, Twinkies. I'm going to buy macaroni and cheese. I'm going to buy all of the good stuff, some chips and dip, and sit there and watch football. It sounds fun. It sounds good. But it's
not good for you.
Problems.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good. It tastes good.
No, it's good, but not good for you.
Nutritious,
and that's a large part. The nutrition is so huge. It's so huge, and you have to start it as a child, and you have to understand that people that are hungry do not function well in the world. So
that's right.
Yeah. And that's essentially why we develop programs like SNAP. That's huge. SNAP is huge. And you have to provide people with at least that basic necessity.
I'm looking at your website here, Leslie, real quick, and I'll bring that up on the screen here if it'll let me. There we go. The Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition, Rockford Area Food Pantries. You hear the word pantry and then you hear the word food bank. Is there a difference between pantries and food banks?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
What's the difference?
We are pantries, and food banks are the ones that store and distribute food, and we actually pay them a service fee to buy food from them. They also have a community market, which is their pantry, and everybody works together. The food bank works with the food pantries, and we all, that's our goal. That's our purpose. And so we got to get food to people.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to donate food, they could donate to either place, but you guys as pantries do take donations directly at the pantry.
We do. We take them at all the pantries, actually. The Rock River Valley Pantry is the largest pantry in Rockford, and that's who I work for. But when you look at that, 94% of every single dollar goes directly to client services. We have 3 full-time, 3 part-time employees, and over 150 volunteers. So if I were saying it honestly, our volunteers actually run the pantries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the smaller pantries in the coalition, they're made up of all volunteers.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So if you could kind of, I guess, sum up what your greatest need might be right now at the pantry. What is your greatest need for more food donations? Is your greatest need for more volunteer involvement? What would you say your greatest need right now is at the local food pantries?
I'm going to check all of the above.
It's all there.
Because for food donations, we absolutely are so appreciative of everything that comes in here. And monetary donations, we can take those and double or triple those at times.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we can buy by the pallet load. We can buy from certain food brokers, including the Northern Illinois Food Bank. And we are local. The food bank works with 13 counties in Illinois. The food pantries are exclusively local to Winnebago County.
On the front line here, yeah.
Yes. So any donations we're grateful for. Right now, we're looking at shelf-stable products. We ran out of cereal. We had a big cereal drive, and yesterday we had no cereal. So honestly, if I look at the percentages, our pantry for the current month, 0 to 18 years old, is up 236% since last year. So our households served are up 150%, and total individuals 180%.
Do you ask people what attributes to that? I mean, I know, like a blind type of a survey, are they feeling the effects of inflation? Are they losing jobs? Do you kind of get a feel for what people might be going through right now?
Well, okay, so in the 50s and 60s, let's just go back a little bit. When our economy was really strong and people were making good income.
Yeah, living
you
wages.
could have a 1-income family. You could buy a house. You could send your kids to school. You could put groceries on, food on the table. Now, with income inequality, so many jobs, good manufacturing jobs, have gone overseas. Most of a quarter of the jobs in Rockford are in the service industry. And so these are low wage, non-stable positions. And what we attribute it to is just plain lack of income. When you're making $10, $12 an hour, you cannot raise a family, pay your rents, which have gone up 50%. Food has increased incredibly. I mean, even if you don't have access to food, you wouldn't be able to afford it on those wages.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at right now.
It's amazing what we're paying for these days too, because compared to the 50s, the things that, if you had a TV in the 50s, you had a TV, but you weren't paying for TV subscriptions. A lot of people are paying for those now.
Right.
If you had a phone, you had a phone on the wall, you might be paying, AT&T a monthly bill for a service, but now you're paying a whole lot more for your cell phones.
Well, sure, and a cell phone is essential nowadays.
It is.
You can't do anything without that. So, but there are a lot of programs too that provide help with that. But back then, 1 in 3 employees were union employees. They had great pay. They had the income inequality wasn't there.
A lot of manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, we saw that during the pandemic. The essential workers, they first of all, people don't want a stimulus check. They want a good job, right? They want a job that's going to provide them the dignity of a paycheck. And back then, 1 in 3 jobs, like I said, and GM was the largest employer back then. And you look at it now, and it's pretty much the Walmart of the world. They don't have full-time jobs. Sometimes they're working 2 jobs, and they all work 40 hours a week. right? But at the end of the month, there's more month than money.
Yeah.
So that's the issue now. That's why we're seeing such a big increase.
Well, is there an upcoming event or some sort of food drive or something like that that we can help you promote today?
Well, we just finished the Mayor's Hunger campaign
Okay.
for the Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition, which was a big success, and I want to thank everybody that donated and helped us with that. And then the crop walk just finished up.
Yeah.
Stanley Campbell, I'm sure you've heard that name. We honored him during the
Oh,
crop
yeah.
walk because he's now retired, and he's just an amazing man. And actually, he was one of the first founders of the pantry. So that is there. And then we have, right now, we're in the middle of our campaign hiatus because we just finished that one up. And all we are doing right now is saying, hey, look at our percentages, look how much they've gone up. And our community is our number one supporter. And so all we can say is, these folks need help. And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, we're very, very thankful that you're here doing this work. And here's a link, or take a quick peek at the actual Rockford Valley Pantry website. Mission to fight hunger in the community by providing nutritious food to those in urgent need.
Yep. Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition.com. It's kind of long. Write it down, then you remember it. We tried to get GRPC, but it was already taken. So
I've got the link in the chat, so you can just click right on in the comments there. I got the link in the chat for everybody to click onto. And if somebody did want to volunteer right now for one of your pantries, can they do that through the website? Do they need to call someone directly? And what would they do?
Well, our pantry has a volunteer coordinator. His name is Jim McFarlane. And so all they would have to do is call us, and we'd hook them up immediately. All of the other pantries, pick up the phone, call them. Everybody is looking for volunteers. The pandemic came. A lot of the volunteers had to not volunteer anymore. And although, we've had volunteers here for 25 years. Can you believe that? There are people that are just dedicated to this, just totally dedicated. And they're wonderful people. And honestly, anybody that's thinking about volunteering, they would love it here. This is just a kind of a big family environment. And
all right, I know you said GRPC was taken. So how about this? Greater Rockford Area Pantry Environment or something like that. I had the word
happiness.
And call it great.
Happiness, kindness.
No, it would have to be
GRAPE.
True.
Enterprise.
Just give us a call. You can volunteer again, Tom. Can't you? How about you, Greg? Come on down.
Oh, absolutely.
We have lots of different positions, and it's only a couple hours a week. So
our church has a pantry as well, and it's kind of a small one, a little local one, and that's the
neighborhood
experience
pantry
I've had with it.
And really, we could use a lot more of those too.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's so many food deserts, and we need to deal with that as well. But societal issues, and we just keep plugging away and working on it.
Is there anything that we didn't ask you about this morning that you'd like to get out there as far as your organization goes, or pantry needs that you can throw out there before we let you go today?
Well, of course, all the pantries need non-perishables, and they need volunteers, and but I just want to throw out there that we live in such an amazing community, and they're so giving, and we're grateful for that. We're grateful for them. And we're just going to try to get everybody food, and that's our goal. So if you can donate, if you can volunteer, thank you.
We do live in a very generous community.
We do.
Seen that a lot for the 33 and a half, 34 years that I've lived around here. one of the reasons why we stay. There's a lot of care and passion in our community. So thanks for all that you do, Leslie, and thanks for carving out some time to joining us here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a good morning, you guys.
Got it.
Thanks.
Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition. Bye-bye. Again, the links are right up there on the chat if you want to take a look at what they've got to offer on their websites. And there's a lot that you can do to be a part of what's happening amongst all the pantries, 9 different pantries among the Rockford region that you can plug into. And those are the ones that are part of the coalition. As Tom was mentioning, there's one at his church. There's other ones at a lot of different churches and other organizations around the area as well. But the bigger one's part of that coalition and doing a lot of good work. I know Joann was sitting by. She's logged into PAWS, but she's not sitting in front of her camera at the moment. So I guess we're not going to bring her on. But I'll do my shout outs right now. She mentioned the Mayor's Hunger Coalition thing too. That was check that out on the website. There's information about that on there. I want to give some shout outs this week for Team Sold on Tony, Keller Williams Realty Signature. Kudos and very happy smiles to Mary and to Jamie and Drew, who closed on their Rockford homes this week. Both were Christian Life School selection, Tom. Mary's kids went to Christian Life with my kids. And so it was really cool to reconnect with her and then help her find and buy her house. And then Jamie and Drew, they went to school with some of my kids at Christian Life, and we had moved out of town for a short spell, and now they're back in town, and it was great to be able to help them find and buy their next place too. And then congratulations to Brandon and Lindsay. They are now under contract. My last 2 accepted contracts, Tom, were in South Beloit. Hello. Wow.
Well, South Beloit is very, very enticing because it's still in the area. You get the best of both worlds. You can either go right into Wisconsin or right into, and there are some nice houses out there. So it's a really nice place. Almost like that push for Roscoe Rockton a number of years ago.
What did they say? A rising tide lifts all ships. And the rising tide around Rockton Roscoe is helping out South Beloit too. Chesney Park.
There you go.
The other only shout out I wanted to add this week was to Coronado Performing Arts Center. I know I went there last week. I feel like a bigwig because I was there twice in 2 weeks. Christy and I went to see Jesus Christ Superstar Thursday nights, which was really incredible. It was very incredible. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber's rock opera before he did Cats. He did Jesus Christ Superstar, and it was funny, kind of watching the show, listening to the show, some of the music that he uses, it's like, oh, that ends up in Cats. I recognize that little riff in Cats. But yeah, we had a good time seeing a lot of people that we know who love musicals and enjoying the show at Coronado, which is still absolutely beautiful. Right, Joann? Good morning, Joann.
Oh, good morning.
Hey.
I was hanging out with my cat friends.
Usually.
Or my people friends. I'm sorry I wasn't at my station.
You're fine. We're doing it.
And I said, am I on the air and I'm away from the whatever?
I was
oh, my hair looks so blonde today.
Don't have a lot of shout outs. Did you get your hair done?
No, it just looked blonde.
That usually happens in the summer, not in the fall. That's interesting, Joann.
I know. I don't know what. Maybe the Halloween witches did something.
you got a spell, Joann. We're gonna take a look at some SMS info, which is unofficially brought to you by Ultrawise. Ultrawise is the app that enables volunteers to track, verify, and maintain their own community service data for a lifetime. That's right, Ultrawise. Tell a better story, live a better life. You can find the app in all your favorite app stores, and there is a free version. You don't have to pay for it. There's a free version on there. Nice talk with Leslie there with the Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition. If you just missed that, you can go back to the rebroadcast on Spotify and listen to that all over again. Fighting hunger in the 815, providing nutritious emergency food, compassion, and respect to any and all community members in need. Greater Rockford Pantry Coalition.com. Some of the stuff going on this weekend. Let's bring this on the screen because there's it's your last chance really to see the Rockford Speedway before they tear the whole thing down.
That's what they said.
Racing is done, and this weekend is Steals and Deals, back swap meet and car show. Today and tomorrow from 9 to 4. It's $5 to get in. And one last time, vendors, parts, tools, shop equipment, accessories, door prizes, all happening. 23 class winning trophies and massive speed system prizes, all that happening at the Rockford Speedway. This is it. The racing's done. So this is just the swap meet, and it's over with.
Is it an outdoor event? I didn't know if there were inside parts of.
Well, they already took down, I think, I think they already demolished the.
Oh, yeah, they did.
So, yeah, this is all outdoors.
The lodge stuff. Yeah, but I didn't know if Rockford Speedway had any indoor capability, like hallways and boardrooms, stuff like that. But yeah. I guess not.
No, I don't think so. Jingle Bell Rockton is happening today and tomorrow. November 3rd, 4 p.m. That looks weird. 10 to 4? Friday through Sunday? Okay. Jingle Bell Rockton. Shopping, food, prizes. Downtown Rockton's official Christmas season open house is all this weekend. Genealogy workshop is happening at the Ethnic Heritage Museum from 1 till 4. This is free. Local genealogist Steve Salvato bringing his expertise to the Heritage Museum Park today. Bring your own laptop or computer in order to get started on your search, and he will help you through all of that. And Dia de los Muertos family events happening at the Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens tonight from 5 till 8 p.m. It's your normal per-person admission. Get in. Non-members is $10 for adults and $7 for kids. The Rockford Park District's Nicholas Conservatory inviting the community to a celebration of Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, in the Tropical Conservatory, 5 till 8 day. Advanced registration is encouraged due to limited capacity. So if you don't register and you show up thinking you're going to get in, you may get in, you might not get in because of limited capacity. But that's happening at Nicholas Conservatory tonight. The Veterans Drop-In Center has their big 5K run today at Sports Score 1. And I think that starts running at 9 o'clock this morning, if I remember right. But they're doing all that at Sports Score 1 today. A reminder that the mission of the Veterans Drop-In Center is to provide a safe, supportive, and positive social environment where all veterans and their families, along with local veteran service organizations, can give and receive help transitioning into and continuing to adapt to post-service life. Thanks to the guys and gals at Veterans Drop-In Center for all that they do. We had Mary Cassiope on last week remind you that their Faith and Business Summit is coming up on Tuesday, November 14th. You still have time to register and get a seat. It's 8 to 9:30. It's breakfast on Tuesday, November 14th with keynote speaker Lori Kim, who is with Microsoft in Chicago. An amazing story to share about how she finds ways to share her faith in her daily work at Microsoft in Chicago. Faith at Work program, and individual tickets are $20. And I will put that link in the chat right now before I forget. November 18th again is Dancing with the Rockford Stars. Tickets no longer available to be a part of that audience. However, you can still vote for your favorite dancers, because the People's Choice Awards is where it's at. That's the one that the dancers want to win the most. There's a link right there now in the chat where you can vote for your favorite dancers. Rockford Stars dancing in this year's Dancing with the Rockford Stars event, November 18th. And as you're not-for-profit looking for something cool to do, how about teaming up with the Rockford Ice Hogs? They are giving the Ice Hogs are giving nonprofit organizations the opportunity to advertise, network, entertain, and fundraise in a unique way in front of Ice Hogs fans. Contact the Rockford Ice Hogs for more info on that. I'm hoping to have Brandon on the show in the next couple of weeks. We've been trying to get our schedules to connect, but they're doing something cool at the Rockford Ice Hogs this year for not-for-profits. So we definitely want to get them on the show. All right, randoms for this week. If you're following the news, you heard that a federal judge in Missouri found that the National Association of Realtors was guilty for damages to the tune of $1.8 billion. This is not the big number of the week, kids. National Association of Realtors represents over 1.5 million agents here in the United States. And the judge found that the group was conspiring to artificially inflate commissions on home sales. Of course, this is going to be appealed, and this is probably going to be drawn out for the next couple of years. But you're probably going to hear some of this stuff in the news, talk about real estate commissions and how they're designed. And there's always been kind of a gray understanding as to how realtors like myself get paid. Unless you sit down and do a buyer's consultation or a seller's consultation like we do with Team Sold on Tony, you probably never had it explained to you. So that's one of the things we pride ourselves on, is being smart real estate, actually explaining to people what we do and how we do it and how we get paid. Well, a lot of realtors haven't been doing that. They just haven't. And so there's this confusion as to how realtors get paid and why the services they use do and get paid, all that stuff. One of the things that brought up this week was if this ruling sticks. Remember when AT&T got broken up because they were
1981.
They were ruled to be a monopoly. And do you remember how much your phone bills started to drop after they got broke up? They didn't.
Yeah, I was going to say no.
What?
Nothing ever goes down. Just like when the nuke plant came in, they promised us back in the late 70s, oh, your ComEd bill is going to be a lot cheaper. No.
Yeah.
Then their excuse was, well, it's going to take some time. Yeah. All that time did was give a buffer to them so they could then come up with a new lie. Never work. No. Whatever they promise you, it's usually not going to happen.
Well, the reason I bring up the AT&T is because I think there might be a little bit of an analogy here and a correlation to what might happen if this is allowed to stick. When AT&T was broken up, and then all of a sudden you splintered off into all these different phone services, what did they do? They came up with new services to charge people for, and the service like call waiting, right? Call, party calls, three-way calling, all these different services all of a sudden came about that you could pay for, and a lot of people chose to pay for them. So most people's phone bills went up instead of down after AT&T was broken up. I think there's a similarity here. If this is allowed to stick, you're going to see real estate do the same thing. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to work for you, and at the end of the road, I'm going to get paid a commission, and here's what that commission is going to be. What happens now if it gets busted up? You're going to pay realtors for each individual service. You're going to pay realtors to show you a home individually. You're going to pay realtors to write a contract should you decide to write a contract. You're going to pay for consultation services like you would an attorney. There's going to be like retainer fees. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying this is probably where things are going to go. Right? So I look at this ruling as a situation where it's like, well, my job might change soon in the next couple of years as far as how I get paid, but I'm still going to get paid. I might have to learn new ways of getting paid.
Well, houses are still going to be sold, bought and sold. So you won't be out of a job.
Right.
You know, there's a few jobs that'll never go away. Housing is one of them. No matter what, people have to have a place to live.
And most people don't want random strangers walking through their homes considering buying them without someone who's licensed to be with them at the same time.
Right.
You want a responsible party to be there to explain things and to make sure that things don't go walking away that shouldn't and stuff like that. So,
right.
Anywho, you're probably going to hear some stuff in the news about this more as the days go by, and we'll see how that all plays out. I'm sure I'll be talking about it on this podcast as we go forward. The British Museum is digitizing its entire collection. Did you know the British Museum has 8 million items? That's also not the big number of the week this week. They say the project will take 5 years to do and about $12 million to complete this project. They say the move is meant to combat thievery. A former curator at the British Museum was found pilfering items and stole somewhere around 2,000 items over a 20 to 25 year period.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This guy who was a curator was just like, oh, this can fit in my pocket. I'll take this home tonight. You know, I can put this in
No.
the bag.
What did he do with the items? Did he set up his own museum? Did he sell them? What?
It doesn't say what he did with all this stuff, but he got
Probably sold them on the black market or something.
I bet he had a really fancy apartment.
Yeah.
Books. Everyone's got books, right? Do you have a little library shelf of books in your home somewhere?
Yeah, right in front of me.
You got a few your favorite books, some novels, maybe some. You know, I got a lot of business and self-help books in the house, and I like to read different things. 9% of Americans have no books. A survey from YouGov found that almost 1 in 10 Americans doesn't own a single physical book.
Really?
It's hard to believe.
It's a little hard.
Not even a phone book?
Not even a phone. On the other hand, there's 3% of Americans who own more than 1,000 books. I'm guessing most professors. Anyway, nearly a third of Americans don't organize their bookshelves at all. And those that do are most likely to sort by what? How do you think most people sort their books on their bookshelves?
Probably by genre.
Bing, 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 bing. 22% sort by genre, 10% by author, and 3%
alphabetically
by color.
By color? Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
I like that.
By color.
I have one bookshelf that is just Wizard of Oz books.
Hello. So different versions of the Wizard of Oz, or
Children's versions, yes, adult versions, different time zones, no time
periods. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
More modern and some old ones.
Nice. That's fun. All right. Speaking of books and media, Best Buy is about to stop carrying any physical media starting in 2024. No more DVDs, no more Blu-rays. They will still stock video games, but no more.
I was going to say they stopped CDs a few years ago, I think.
They're not selling.
Maybe they still have some residuals, but for the most part, you can't buy a CD there anymore.
Best Buy says that they are creating space and opportunity for new and innovative technology, and they're adopting and adapting. So kudos to Best Buy for not just falling off the planet like Circuit City did. They're doing stuff. Speaking of vintage stuff, though, Urban Outfitters is selling vintage iPods. iPods that have been updated with new batteries and expanded storage by Retrospect, which is a tech restoration company. They're selling these iPods anywhere from $200 to $350. One of the listings calls the iPod Classic a genuine piece of vintage retro tech.
If that doesn't make you feel old, nothing will.
Well, here's the thing. The very first iPod was released in 2001, only 22 years ago, and yet it's vintage tech now. It's kind of funny how quickly we went from CDs to iPods and then right into smartphones where we didn't need the iPods anymore. But yeah, some people want to go back to those days of having vintage iPods, and they're buying them for anywhere from $200 to $350.
I think we have a few in drawers somewhere.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I know we have at least one in this house somewhere. At least we did. Unless one of the kids grabbed it and took it, but I think there's still one in a box with some of the old cell phones. What do you do with your old cell phones? Anyone got a really good idea of what to do with old cell phones? Is it?
Yeah, keep them in a box somewhere under the desk.
Part of what the basement's for.
Yeah, that's right.
And a bunch of quick little sports hits. Of course, the Texas Rangers. Kudos to the Rangers for winning the World Series, their first title in franchise history. They beat the Diamondbacks in 5 games, and they did not lose a single road playoff game. 11 wins on the road.
I know.
Wow.
Amazing.
I believe they only lost 2 games in the entire series.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple. I think
One to the Diamondbacks and one to the Astros. No, 2 to the they went 7 games.
they went 7
Yeah.
games. So they lost 3 to the Astros.
Yeah.
So 4 there. And I think they swept the other 2. Yeah.
So wow.
So 4 games.
Amazing stuff there. Legendary basketball coach Bob Knight passed away this week. He was 83 years old. I would say do you remember his vintage poem talking about when he passes away?
I've heard it. I couldn't come up with it though.
So basically something about his critics kissing his behind. I'll just leave that alone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Roger,
Bury me face down.
bury me face down. That's right.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell has finalized his 3-year contract extension with the NFL. He will be the commissioner atop America's most popular sport for an extra 3 years upon top of what he had already made the deal for.
You know, sadly, he's an awful commissioner, period. He's an awful, awful commissioner. But sadly, he is regarded as great because the NFL itself, it's almost like McDonald's. Service isn't that great. Food's not that great. Very expensive. But why are they still up there? Because it's comfortable.
Hard to beat.
It's home. It runs itself. Same thing with Walmart. 0 customer service. It runs itself. And Roger Goodell, same thing. Sorry for anybody who works at Walmart or McDonald's. You guys are fine people, but your organization's not so good sometimes.
I'm wondering,
But anyway,
maybe
that?
Goodell's. So I'm going to turn that off. Maybe Goodell's strength is that he's great on the business side of things, not necessarily on the player side of things.
Well, what got me about Roger Goodell is when Tom Brady, the whole deflate gate,
Mm-hmm.
he gives him a 4-game suspension on what? Circumstantial evidence at best. At best. It was wrong to begin with. Whether Tom Brady did anything wrong or not, didn't matter. There was no evidence convicting him. You can't prove a negative. You can't. So Tom Brady didn't, nobody saw him do it. He didn't do it. He didn't go in there at halftime and, take the footballs and, release the air. It didn't happen. It simply didn't happen. But Roger Goodell, being very, very stubborn, had to have his way. And then I thought it was very almost apropos. Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl that year and holds up the trophy after he had the first 4 games being on a beach in Maui.
Will we ever hear the truth about that situation? Maybe, now that Tom Brady's retired, if he ends up in the booth calling games at some point, maybe a few years down the line, that comes up again, and he gets on the 20th anniversary of Deflategate. What really happened, Tom Brady? Spills the beans. Here's what really happened.
He's already spoke his mind. It's Roger Goodell that needs to come out and say, yeah, I kind of railroaded him. Didn't like him. Thought he was arrogant. Well, you're a moron. I'm sorry you are. You used your bully pulpit to punish somebody for something that you couldn't prove that he did. I'm sorry. I lost all respect for Roger Goodell at that point. And I think he's an awful commissioner. It's this. There. That's how the wind is blowing. That's what he does. He's a panderer. He panders to whoever. Yeah, he's a politician.
He's a politician. Don't you love it, Joann, that Tom is just afraid to share his true feelings about it?
I really need to open up more.
Here's speaking of well-paid CEOs, here's a shocking statistic. More NBA players make $30 million or more per year in guaranteed compensation than CEOs of S&P 500 companies.
Nobody wants to watch a CEO go to work and say, yeah, buy, sell, trade. Nobody cares. You're putting butts in the stands. You're putting 20 to 22,000 people in the stands every night, and you've got people wearing your jersey. I don't see anybody wearing a jersey that says, Steve, IBM, yeah!
When the argument comes up for equality in pay for different players in different sports, it's like, okay, do you really want that though? I mean, do you really want that though? Because how far deep do we got to go with that? Should hockey players get paid the same amount as football players? They take as great a risk as football players do. They play more games. Why aren't they being paid as much as football players get paid? Eyeballs and butts and seats. That's why.
Right. Yeah, it's a merit system for sure. It's a meritocracy for sure. But it's also driven by how much money you generate. Ronda Rousey said that. They said, aren't you, do you feel bad that you make so much more money than your competition? She says, I'm the one they're coming to see, without being too arrogant. She even said, look, right. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm the one they're coming to see. I'm the one filling these stadiums.
She wasn't
not the girl I'm facing. That just happens to be, It's like if the Yankees are playing the Kansas City Royals on a weekend series, they're not coming to see the Royals. They're coming to see the Yankees or the Cubs or the Dodgers or any one of those,
And the NBA's highest paid players will pocket a combined $746 million this year. The average NBA franchise is estimated now to be worth $2.86 billion. Each one. Each one. Magic Johnson, of course, a former NBA star and investor, is now officially a billionaire. He's a majority owner in a life insurance company called Equitrust. You probably heard that Magic Johnson is a co-owner of the Dodgers and a couple other things, movie theaters and such. But the majority of his wealth has been made through Equitrust, his co-ownership of Equitrust life insurance company. He's now worth over $1.2 billion. And if you want to know where I get all this really wild information, and usually our big number of the week, you want to go and sign up for The Hustle. And I'm going to put the link in the chat again today. The Hustle. No, before the show. Where do I often get all this great information?
Then we would have no need to listen to you.
I talk about this stuff though, and I curate information from these sources all week long, and sometimes there's way more we could talk about. This could be a 5-hour show, easy. We could be back on the media.
You have to start paying us.
I know, right?
Your check is in the mail.
I've heard that before.
All right, so there's all your randoms and stuff for this week. Before we get to our big number of the week, Joann, what do we got going on at PAWS?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want a brief tour?
Do we want to take a quick little tour again this week?
Absolutely. I got to see my kitty cats.
Got some newbies to visit.
I don't. Facing back. Or oldies.
I go like this, and I go like this. Boom. We have Joann roaming around PAWS.
There we go. And I need to be on the air. It's when we usually come in. I'm changing the. They've already been fed, so it's kind of like we've had my breakfast, and now I'm just sitting here relaxed. There's 2 cats in here. Estrella, another Estrella.
Wow.
Way down in the corner. Estrella means star and this was Luna.
Luna.
So Estrella and Luna.
Spacey.
Their mom became sick. I was reading their story. They want to be together. They want to be adopted together. Or they don't. I should say we want them adopted together.
So officially a bonded pair?
They came together. Okay, this is the beginning of a new month.
The 4th day of November.
So 2 cats adopted, Mittens and Penny. And then we've got the numbers down here. I don't know if you can see them.
Cats in August, 35 in October. There we go, 35 and 5.
So September was a big month, but we had that Lou Back Road thing. So that helped take them. I don't think we have any big events in November. We do have Pictures with Santa the first weekend in December at Village Green.
The one on Main, right?
Yes. This is Hannah. She's got quite a look. Her eyes are just wide. So she's like, oh. It's like, she says, I woke, excuse me. I woke up and then you moved on. Look at this big black cat.
Ah,
See, everyone seems a little tired today. There's one in the back just lounging. Yeah. They're getting an extra. Is that they get an extra hour of sleep today?
Oh, that's right. It's fallback weekend.
that's
Forget to
right.
bring that up. Move your clocks back, everybody. 1 hour before hitting the hay tonight.
You get from Cher. There's a song. Oh, yeah. You can't sing on the air.
If I could find a way,
But when he sings it like Kermit the Frog, it's acceptable.
I would
Oh, okay.
Timex and roll that thing away.
He's not.
I
He's
love it when you
messing
sing
up
like
his
that.
other job.
Wow.
Yeah, turning back time, baby.
Every year we vote to not do it, and then we do it anyhow. I thought it passed that we weren't going to do it
I thought
anymore.
the same thing.
It got through one part of the house, but not the other.
But we're going to now. We're going back to regular time because before we were on.
Well, we've been on the new time, not daylight savings time is what we've been on.
Yeah, we were on daylight savings time. Now we're going to standard time.
So yeah, I
Did you
forget.
take me off the
It was
air?
either the Senate or the House did pass it, but the other side didn't. So here we
What
are.
is JAP? Joann something
I
something.
don't know what that means. He took me off the air.
Your camera just shut off on you, Joann. I didn't do it. Promise.
Because it was that singing.
It was my singing.
There you go.
My singing ruined the whole thing. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's do this big number. Good news. We don't need Joann's camera to take care of this part of the show. Tom and Joann currently tied at 2 in our current race to 10. And this week's big number of the week is
I just saw a picture.
18 billion. 18 billion. The answer is Safari or South Florida. Safari or South Florida. Tom has sent me his answer, Joann. So give me yours, please. In 1, 2, 3.
South Florida.
South Florida. You're both going for South Florida.
Oh my goodness.
And, have you seen home prices in South Florida? Wow. The average sale price for a Palm Beach home topped $20 million in the third quarter of this year. The average price per square foot is about $4,500, and that's more than 2.5 times as expensive as it is to live in Manhattan, New York City.
Wow.
That's a big
Well,
number.
the good news is that you can get that Mar-a-Lago for 18 million. That's a steal.
Good call. Good catch, Joann. So yeah, the answer is Safari. Sorry, neither one of you get a point this week. Google might not have known this, but Google has a deal with Apple, a long-standing deal with Apple to be the default search engine on Apple's Safari browser. And a report just came out to show that Google is paying to be the standard on all Macs, iPads, and iPhones about $18 billion a year. That's what they paid.
Wow.
That's what they paid in 2021. So it's probably only gone up since then, unless they've got a contract to keep it that rate for a period of time. But anywho, there you go. Big number of the week, 18 billion. And we'll try again next week, guys. All right. Any final shout outs before we let you all go?
Go Packers.
Go Packers. The Packers are bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
We need help. Next week on the show, the Northern Illinois Center for Nonprofit Excellence, NICNE, Pamela Clark is going to be our guest, talking about all things Rockford area not-for-profits. I'm really excited to talk to her and about what NICNI does and its affiliation with NIU as well. So until then, remember, you change the world when you help one person. So be a blessing to someone this week. We'll try to do the same and meet you back here next week for another Saturday morning Stateline show. Goodbye, friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye.